What up, my favorite ghouls and goblins, witches and ghosts? It is your favorite serial killer, psychopath. Wait. What up, family? It's your favorite cousin, your favorite uncle, your favorite nephew, your favorite son, your favorite father, your best friend's best friend. It's me, Dr. Larry, and welcome to Live For You, the YouTube channel. And make sure I don't have any helmet hair, let alone a receding hairline. Let me just make sure that's okay. Welcome to the channel. welcome to my loyal, faithful subscribers. I love you, your family. Welcome. This is a safe space, a positive place in which we come together and we gather to enrich ourselves, educate ourselves, grow mentally, grow emotionally, grow spiritually, move on from trauma. My family members, like I said, I love you guys. I have family members all over the world. So to my family members in Brazil, obrigado. To my family members in Latin America, gracias. And to my family members in French-speaking countries like in the Caribbean and even in France, merci beaucoup. Anyway, welcome to family. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being with me. And to those of you who are new subscribers, who are just recently subscribed, I want to thank you for joining the family. I appreciate you all being here. Continue to subscribe, continue to follow, continue to like, comment, and share the videos. For those of you who are seeing me the first time, I am Dr. Larry Smith, yes, and Batman. I am Dr. Larry Smith, and I am a certified life and spiritual coach. I refer to myself as a spiritualist. You can find out more about me at www.liveforyoucoaching.com. That's www.liveforyoucoaching.com. And you can also follow me on social media on Instagram and on Facebook at Dr. Larry Smith. That's Dr. Larry Smith on Instagram and Facebook. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. Anyway, obviously this video, whenever it comes out, is going to be around Halloween time. So that explains why I even had on the quirky ghost face mask. And you guys, I actually enjoy Halloween. Not necessarily for all of the stuff and the history and all that stuff behind it, but for horror movies. I like horror movies. And I also like the weather. It's fall, so sometimes it's cool and the trees are turning brown and the time is changing. And for me, it's just fun. It's fun. So I like Halloween. But nevertheless, when we think about Halloween, we think about fear. So I wanted to get on this video today and talk to you all and have a dialogue and a conversation at the table today about fear. Fear. Many times we think of fear as a negative thing, and it is a negative thing if you allow it to have a negative possession over your life. What do I mean when I say that? Well, we know that fear is sometimes the greatest motivator. A lot of institutions, whether it's marketing firms, whether it's politicians, whether it's religion, a lot of them use fear as a motivator. I mean, think about it. Politicians would tell you the worst and the most terrible thing is about to happen, especially like when it comes to the economy. We're in the worst recession and things are about to fall down, and if they don't pass this bill or this person's not elected, you're going to experience the worst. Or if you talk about marketing firms, you watch some of the commercials and they try to scare you into buying their products. My favorite example is, of course, the home detector, the security detectors or whatever. They always make those commercials so creepy that you just need to protect yourself. And then, of course, religion tells you if you don't do everything right, where are you going? Hell. Or you're going to face destruction, and it's going to be so terrible because God's vengeance is going to be so horrible for you. Well, that's what we do. We use fear to motivate people to do things positively, which never made sense to me. But also, fear is something that we possess on the inside of ourselves, and sometimes our fear prevents us from doing all kinds of things. So say, for example, say if you are a person who wants to travel the world, you want to go to Spain and go to England and go to France and go to Argentina and go to Brazil and go to the Caribbean and go to other places, but you have to get on an airplane to do those things, or a boat. But the fastest, most efficient way in modern times is an airplane. But you're afraid to fly. You have a phobia of flying. I forgot the name of that phobia. It doesn't stick to my brain right now, but you guys know the fear of flying. There's a lot of people who have the fear of flying. And so in order to even get to where you want to go and to accomplish those things, to travel to those places you want to travel, you would have to overcome that fear. But for many people, that fear is so debilitating that they never get a chance to experience the world and see the places that they want to see. Fear is that powerful of it. And that's just a small example. Because there are also times in which our fears prevent us from taking jobs, moving cross country, getting in a relationship, leaving a relationship that's not good for us, standing up for ourselves, or whatever the case may be. Fear is the greatest motivator, but most of the time when fear is motivating us, it is motivating us not to do anything that we want to do positively. Fear is a negative emotion when it is used in that capacity. Now, sometimes fear can be considered positive, depends on how you look at it. Fear might just simply be intuition. You know, if you have there's something within you that's not allowing you to do something that might be harmful for you or that you might figure out is dangerous, it might be something that can save your life. So fear can, if it's used rightly, correctly, can be a positive thing in the long run. But ultimately, fear is a very inhibiting, a very limiting expression that we all humans have. I know the word that is very famous to say, live fearlessly. And I'm more than likely going to name this video, Live Fearless. However, it is a lot harder to do because everybody has fear. Everybody has a phobia or a fear of something that prevents something from happening in their lives. Some more irrational, some more rational than others, some quite irrational. I've seen people with the fear of cotton on TV. I've seen people with the fear of glass, people with fear of old people, people with fear of babies. I've seen all kinds of just weird, strange things. There's actually a show on TV, I think, called Strange Phobia that talks about all of these weird and kind of over-the-top fears that people have. And so, but fear is a big market. Fear is a big market. That is the whole brand of Halloween, is to market the spooky and the macabre and the scary and the fearful. Or like I said, politicians, marketing agents, and even religious leaders sometimes use fear as a motivation. So clearly, in society, fear has a place, and it is being used often, all the time, every day of our lives. And you can tell people's inner fears come out whenever certain subjects come up. If you want to know people's fears about certain things politically, go to Facebook and start reading some of the comments in the comment section when anybody posts anything about politics or any particular issue or any particular legislation or something. You will see fear play itself out quite clearly in the comment section, and everybody has different levels of and intensities towards that fear. So fear is real. I'm not going to be a person who's going to get on here and try to dismiss fear as though fear is not something that exists. In fact, I've had my own phobias. I used to have a fear of heights. I used to be afraid to go way up into tall buildings and look down out of fear that I was going to fall. So that also impacted my fear of flying initially. I had to get over that because I like to travel, but I used to have that fear of flying. I also had a fear of being rejected, that people weren't going to accept me. I even had a fear starting this channel, not knowing if I was going to get subscribers or not. I just was fearful that perhaps nobody would like me. I don't know. I knew I was a likable person, but maybe I'm not likable on the grand scale. There was fear behind that. I had fear when I moved cross country from the South, Georgia, to California. So I had fear. So fear is, and the whole list goes on and on. Fear of walking away from the religion I grew up in. Fear from separating myself independently from my family and my friends that I had always known. There was a lot of fear and a lot of phobias that I had. So I had to get to a place to where I had to conquer that fear in order to accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish and in order to grow as the person that I wanted to be on this planet. So everybody has fear. However, we should never, ever live our lives based in fear. And unfortunately, what I am seeing on the planet, in the country, around the community, in the world, is people are living lives out of fear. Fear of everything. One of the biggest one is the fear of others, right? We have a lot of things changing now. We have kind of a wider acceptance of different kinds of people, different lifestyles, different choices, different customs, different groups of people. All kinds of things are changing in the world around us, and you have people who are pushing back because of their fears. You have people who don't want to move beyond some of these archaic and dying establishments and institutions that we've had because of fear of what would happen if we go beyond that. But the biggest fear is the fear that I see is the fear of others, the fear of the unknown. And the thing I like to quote when I think about that is actually Martin Luther King's quote when he says, "It may be dark when you're going upstairs, but it's all about taking that step. You may not be able to see where you're going, but as long as you take one step at a time, you will get to where you need to be." I'm paraphrasing, but it's the gist of that quote is that you do not allow the fear of unknowing to stop you from going forward. Because if you don't go forward, you will never get to where you need to get. You guys know that I'm a trauma coach. Well, I'm a spiritualist. I focus on trauma. I'm a life coach, spiritual coach who focus on trauma, a trauma coach. And for me, in dealing with my clients, one of the challenges that I have with them is getting them to not be afraid of not having to live in their trauma. Because many of them, myself was like this included, but many of them have grown accustomed to living in the traumatic mind and in that experience of always living around what happened to them, how it happened to them, how it made them feel, what they feel like about themselves because of the trauma. They're so used to that experience that when you tell them you can have freedom and you can live a better life and live the life that you deserve, they are fearful about moving forward because they do not know what's on the other side. And at the end of the day, that's life in general. You wake up every morning not knowing what the day is going to bring you. You go to bed every night not knowing what the next day is going to bring you. And so at the end of the day, what we have to learn how to do is live beyond our fear and just take a chance, take a risk. And like I said, because I see society so full of fear, so full of phobias, so full of anxiety against what's to come, that people just aren't moving forward. And in order to move forward with anything in life, you have to dispel, you have to somehow manage your fear. You have to somehow work through your fear. So what are ways in which, I'm gonna give you 3 ways in which you can work through your fear. The first thing is to acknowledge it. Acknowledge your fear. Acknowledge your fear. If it is a phobia, don't deny it. You're not calling yourself weak or accepting weakness by accepting your fear. What you are doing is you are saying, "Hey fear, I see you. I know you exist. You're there. You're not going to get away from me, fear, because I see you. We see each other, fear." And so acknowledging is the first step to moving beyond your fear. Secondly, the second step of my 3 steps to moving beyond your fear is to embrace your fear. Fear is a good thing when used appropriately. I've said that before in this, right? So when you use your fear appropriately, your fear might be something to protect you. Or your fear might be something to convince you to take your next steps with precaution so that you don't go to the extreme, or you don't go excessive, or you don't get hurt. Sometimes fear is the best way to protect yourself. And that is even true in the animal kingdom. Animals are more fearful of us than we are of them, believe it or not. And they have mechanisms out of fear to protect themselves. I think of a perfect example of that is the skunk. Where I live at in Southern California, Long Beach, it's every so often, pretty often, you smell skunks. Somebody done intimidated and scared the hell out of a skunk, and the skunk sprays. That spray is a defense mechanism out of fear in the glands of a skunk to protect itself. So sometimes fear is a protectant even for us human people. And of course, the last thing about fear is you got to be able to take the chance to overcome it. Do not allow it to be a barrier. Allow it to be a bridge. So that you take that fear, you use that fear, you say, you know what, this isn't going to hold me back, but it is going to keep me grounded as I move forward. So when I first got onto an airplane, I did that. I said, you know what? I said, I want to travel. I'm not going to allow my fear to inhibit me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on a plane and I'm going to take a trip across the country and I'm going to fly as far as I can go within reason and face this fear. And you know what I did? On the plane, I sat in the seat next to the window and I opened the window so I can watch the lift off the ground, so I can see myself going up, so that I conquered that fear head on. So you got to go through it and conquer the fear head on. So first, acknowledge your fear. Secondly, embrace your fear. And then thirdly, go through that fear head on. Because no matter what, fear is going to be there. We all have fears. But do not let fear cause you to stop and to inhibit you from growth, from getting to know new people and new experiences, from doing what you want to do in life and succeeding, and from moving forward beyond and getting to the healing that you're trying to get to. So while fear can be a spooky thing, sometimes kind of like Halloween, don't allow fear to stop you. I tend to think, instead of fear, be an EGOT. And no, we're not talking about Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. You know, you've heard the term EGOT. I believe the EGOT for me is everything God on time. Everything godly on time. Everything godly on time. Right? So, or everything good on time. Everything good on time, however you want to put it. Just basically saying that I am of the mindset that I'm going to trust that whatever's happening is for my best, and whatever's going on in the world is for the best of the planet and of the universe, and is in universal alignment, and I'm going to trust that it is good, and so therefore I'm going to move forward with it. Even though I'm fearful, I'm going to move forward with it. So, fear. Don't let fear inhibit you, even during this Halloween season, or even during life. Just be fearless. Be fearless, and you can do it, because I did it, and anyone can do it if I did it. I promise you. That's it. This is a little different, right? You know, I love Batman, you guys. Batman is my favorite superhero. Like I said, I love the Halloween season for what it gives, and then the movies and all of the, you know, the fall-like weather and the oranges and colors and whatever. But I want to get on here and talk about that just right in time for Halloween, so that when you think of Halloween, you think of this message of living fearlessly. Okay? So I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And as I always say, I will see you in the next video.